Let's continue working with links in InDesign. I want to show you a little bit of the advantage and functionality of using links and also how to replace and relink files. So I'm going to go back to our document that we've been working on in InDesign. You can see we left off on the inside cover page with the Despicable Me trailer image here. I'm going to, in my Pages palette, double click on the thumbnail for page 5, and you can see that takes me to page 5, fits that page in my window. If I double check my navigation in the bottom corner, you can see that I am on page 5, which is where I want to be. And let's place another image in here. We're going to go to File, Place in the drop-down menus. That's going to bring up our Place dialog box. I want Min Concept 002. It's the graphite drawing of this little falling minion. I'm going to hit Open. I'm going to hit OK in my Import Options dialog box. And I'm going to drop this in loosely 4 rows tall, and it's 2.5 columns wide, right? The grid is a guide for structure, so it's completely okay that proportionally this is 4 rows tall and 2.5 columns wide, okay? Now, I'm gonna open up my links palette so we can see what's going on, and you can see now we have 2 links in here. We have the first image we placed on page 1, and then we have this image that we have placed on page 5. Alright, what I'm going to do is, with my image link frame still selected, I am going to hover my cursor inside of my frame. I'm going to hold down Alt. You can see my pointer turns to 2 arrows, black and white, and I'm going to drag a copy of this link down to the bottom. I'm going to set the bottom on the margin. They're spaced exactly a gutter apart. Nice, even, good-looking spacing. Now, what I can do is, with my second image, my copy, is go back to my links palette. It's selected because it's the item I have selected on the artboard. And then in the middle of the links palette, you have some icons. The second one in is a chain. And you can see what that one says is relink. So if I click that and I navigate back into my images folder, and we're going to use this Min Concept 003. It's the little drawing of the minion holding up, I don't know, a trash can or something. Okay, so with that highlighted, I'm going to hit Open, and it'll show my import options. Those are okay. And then you can see what happened is it swapped out with the original image, the new image that we selected. It is sized the same in the frame and within the frame, is completely proportional and looks really good. If at the bottom of the toolbar on the left hand side, if you click and hold, these are your preview modes. You want to be in normal when you are working so that you can see your bleed page, margins, etc. But there's also a preview, and if I go to View, Fit Spread in Window, and then zoom out some, this is what your print preview looks like. So everything here that you can see within the pages are print items, right? It does crop to your bleed or to the page so that you can check your bleeds if you have them set. We will look at bleeds later on with the imagery. And now if you hit W on your keyboard, that's how you get back to preview mode. All right. I'm going to hit Option Command 0. For those of you on a PC, that would be Control Option 0 to fit my spreads in my window. And I would like to show you another bit of functionality about these links. I'm going to select the guy on the bottom to start with, and then I'm going to right click, and what I want to do is about 2/3 of the way down, edit with Photoshop. What that's going to do is take the original linked source image, open it up in Photoshop for me, and now I can make adjustments to it. This being a scan, what I would like to do is drop out all this paper texture so he's just on a plain white background. I'm going to do that by opening my adjustments palette. Looks like the cookie over here on the right hand side. If you don't have that available to you in your palettes, go to Window, Adjustments, and that will open up that palette for you. In the adjustments, we're going to use a levels adjustment, so top row, second one in. And in the histogram here, we're just going to pull the dark key or black on the left here in just a little bit to this first break. And then we're going to pull in or to the left the white or high key until we see that paper texture drop out of our image here on the screen. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to right click inside my layers palette and flatten, and then I'm going to save, and I don't want to change the name, so just make sure you're doing just a straight file save when you do that. If you save it without changing the name, and I'm going to go ahead and close it, get out of Photoshop, and go back to InDesign, watch what happens when I activate my InDesign window. Automatically updates my link with the changes I made in Photoshop. Alright, I'm going to zoom to the page level. Another thing I'd like to show you, if you're looking at these images and depending on how your video quality looks, these look a little pixelated. I'll go ahead and hit preview mode by hitting W on my keyboard. That's the same whether you're on a PC or a Mac. Alright, sometimes when you're looking at your images, you know for a fact that you've already adjusted them to print resolution and that they're good size, but they still look pixelated. The reason for that, and if I right click here on my page with nothing selected, what I'll see at the bottom of my right click menu is this display performance. You want to work in typical, especially once you start getting a lot of placed content, floor plans, renders, large images, etc. into your file. If you're not on this typical display, your file is going to be very, very slow. It's going to be very hard to navigate through to different pages. But if I go ahead and kick this on to high quality display, you can see that what happened is it sharpened up my images pretty much to screen resolution. If I put this back on typical for a second, you can see how pixelated, especially this guy right here is holding the trash can. And then if I right click, again with nothing selected, display performance, high quality display, I can see how sharp that gets. And that's pretty much print resolution preview. So if you're looking at things, and they shouldn't be pixelated, but they are, I will periodically do a quick check in my display performance just by changing this to high quality. And then when I'm finished looking at things, double checking, I'll put it back on typical, and that's generally where I leave it when I'm working. I'm going to hit W on my keyboard again to go back to my regular normal working mode. And I'm going to fit my spread to the window. I'm going to save.